Yes, MATTSB is back to predict the Championship 1 to 24 table. Give it a rest, Matt. You're rubbish at predicting, Matt. I know, I agree with those comments. Don't worry, I'm still here to try and have some fun anyway. Like I say, guys, I'm doing a 1 to 24 table prediction for the Championship today. I haven't done this since before the season started. It was, late July when I did my official predictions for the season, and they are the ones I'm going to come back to at the end of the season. They're my proper predictions. But I always like to, part of the way through the season, have another go at it. And I didn't want to do it in the first international break. I thought that was too early on. But in my opinion, this second international break of the season is a good time to try and reassess my predictions, because we've now seen the transfer window has closed. We've seen 9 games of football for each of these Championship teams, except for Ipswich and Blackburn, where we've actually seen 8 games and 79 minutes of football. But like I say, I wanted to give it a go today. If you think it's still not worth doing, if it's still too early into the season, fair enough. But if you want to try and have some fun like me, share your predictions down in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Remember, there's no right or wrong opinions right now. We don't know what's going to happen, so try and be respectful in the comments, even if you disagree. Make sure to drop a like on the video. We'll go for 2,000. It really helps the channel. And make sure you are subscribed. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. And before we get into the predictions, a massive thank you to the channel sponsors, Match Bingo. Make sure to get involved by clicking the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code. As you can see, there's lots of events on, even during the international break, where you can get involved with some of the World Cup qualifying games with a bingo card and win some big cash prizes. Be gamble aware, guys, 18s and overs only. So then, as you can see in front of us, we have a tier list. We've got the top 6, we've got the playoff chasing teams, the mid-table teams, the teams I think that will stay up, and my bottom 3. And I have gone with the badges to be circular, just a different feature I'm trying out. Let me know if you like that. Just before I get into my predictions, I will say, so far this season, the Championship has been very unpredictable, so do go easy with your comments down below. There's still lots of twists and turns to come, but this is just my gut feeling. I think this is an easy one to start off with. If we go from bottom to top, Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, sorry, Sheffield Wednesday fans. As much as I respect Sheffield Wednesday as a proper historic big football club and feel sorry for their fans at the moment, if we're doing predictions, they have to go bottom, surely. Now, what I will say is they have been better than pretty much everyone thought they would be. They've been competitive. I didn't think they'd go to Portsmouth and win. They gave Leicester a good game. They've picked up some good draws as well. But surely, as the season gets into the December months and the January months, when there's games flying at you and you haven't got that depth, that's going to be an issue. And of course, we're expecting a points deduction now as well. Unless Chansiri goes, I have to have Sheffield Wednesday bottom, and I'm sorry. Right, next up, it does get difficult now because I'm not confident about who else will go down. But right now, I am going to go with Oxford United. Now, at the start of the season, I did have Oxford to stay up just because they proved me wrong last season. But they've had a slow start, and now I've actually got them to go down. So they're going to have to prove me wrong again. Look, they've been competitive. Every game they've lost has been by 1 goal. They are not getting smashed. They are not a team I feel confident that's definitely going to go down. However, they are still losing quite a few games, and they're 3 points below a point per game, and that's going to take a little bit of catching up to do. Look, if they win back-to-back games after the international break, they're going to fly out of the bottom 3. And look, they've got Cameron Brannigan, who I like. Lankshire's put up a couple of goals, which is great. I just have this feeling they might fall short this time. I do, and I'm really sorry, but I think they might go down narrowly. This is very tricky, but I'm going to go with Blackburn Rovers to be my final team down here. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday takes centre stage when it comes to chaos off the pitch, but I really don't like the way things are ran at Blackburn Rovers. When you look at their transfer window, especially towards the end, so many outgoings and barely any incomings. Look, they've still got decent players. Todd Cantwell's been a real positive so far this season. Ryan Hedges is decent. But right now, I just think there is a lack of momentum with the club. There's no real sense of direction. They're just kind of treading water. And also, like I say, a lack of depth after the transfer window. And also, could they just be unlucky? You know, as much as I think it was quite harsh on them for them to get nothing from the Ipswich game, and it's going to be completely replayed 90 minutes, 11v11, I wonder if it's going to be one of those kind of seasons where things just conspire against them. I hope that's not the case, but it could be. You know how ruthless football is. That's my bottom three for now. But honestly, other than Sheffield Wednesday, I'm not massively confident with that. Let's move on to the teams that I have surviving. I'm going to go with Derby. Derby could be a bit higher up the table, but right now they're just treading water. They've drawn 5 games, which is okay. They're in every game, but they've only won 1. I mean, that was a great win at West Brom, to be fair, but it was a bit smashy and grabby, wasn't it? Is it viable? The underlying numbers are not the best. They're quite low on the XG. Chance creation-wise, not looking great in terms of those numbers, although they've got players like Carlton Morris, who's great. Ben Brereton Diaz, if you can get him firing, he's great. But I've still got question marks. I said about Dion Sanderson that I didn't really like him. He was particularly worse at the very start of the season. But however, they have got John Eustace, and he is an experienced, stubborn Championship manager who will, at a minimum, keep them up. But really, they should be looking a bit further up the table. Next up, might be a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to go with Watford. I know they're currently in the top half, which is great. But is that currently their peak? I don't know. I mean, if they keep up this decent run that they're on, then yeah, maybe they'll be in a top 6 discussion. To be honest, what I will say is there's probably not going to be many points separating the teams in the middle. So they could finish 19th and they could finish 10th, and there might only be 8-9 points between those two places come the end of the season. I mean, obviously, Paolo Pezzolano has had his criticism, and obviously, as I've said previously, people associate Watford with sacking their managers. I do like the recent results and performances. The XG numbers they're putting up do suggest that these results have been merited and it's viable. But I just feel a bit unsure with Watford, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like there's harder games coming. Loser's been good, and Gakia obviously got a brace against Oxford United. They've definitely got enough to stay up and probably push for top 6 place, but I'm going to have them here for now, just uncertain with Watford, if I'm being honest. And then the final team here in the safe category, I'm going to go with Charlton. I think I'm going to just take things one step at a time with Charlton, because originally I did have them in my bottom 3. I now don't think they'll go down. And if anything, they could prove me massively wrong and finish in the top half. They are currently 12th. They have just lost to Preston, but before that, they've been great. Their defensive numbers are really encouraging. They're solid. They're hard to beat. I wonder if there's a bit of a lack of firepower, if I'm being honest. Have they got enough goals to keep them in the top half is where I've got question marks. But maybe that's down to the way they play. The games are always tight, so they won't have someone who goes and gets 20 goals, if you see what I mean. Their top scorers this season are James Bree, obviously a defender, 2 goals. Sonny Carey's got 2 goals, obviously from midfield. I think I'm going to have them 19th. And considering I originally had them to go down, that's a step forwards. And if they keep up this good start, I'll probably put them into the middle if I revisit this in January or something. Right then, mid-table, Norwich, 18th. That might seem harsh, and I know it could be deemed as a bit of recency bias because they're currently 19th, but I have had concerns for a few weeks now. Obviously, I will say that right now I'm not sure what's going to happen with Liam Manning. He could be sacked the day I record this. He might not. I do think he is on borrowed time, though, even though it's early on. I just think the home form has been terrible. Defensively, they've been terrible, and they've now lost that 16-year record they had of never losing to Ipswich in that time, and now they have. Look, they've got Josh Sargent, who's always going to get goals, but is he even getting all the service that he needs? Probably not. And I genuinely think Norwich are not as good as I thought they were. I think because you associate Norwich with promotions to the Premier League 5 years ago, you think, oh, well, they'll be pushing for the playoffs. But I wonder if their squad's maybe not as good as I thought. I'm going to go 18th, which I still think is an underperformance. Their squad's not 18th on paper, but there's nothing to get behind at the minute, if I'm being honest. That said, if they get a new manager, they could finish 12th or something, couldn't they? Or maybe even higher. 17th, I'll go with the Tigers. Hull City do confuse me. Their underlying numbers are not great, and they have conceded the second most goals, but they are doing all right at home. And to be fair, I'll put my hands up. I did have Hull in my bottom 3. I don't anymore. I think they'll be mid-table. I won't go as far as to say top half, but when you've got Ollie McBurney scoring goals, how many has he got? He's got 6 goals. Ryan Giles has got 5 assists as well, which Shouldn't surprise me with him putting crosses into the box and what have you. But look at this, 5th in the home table, 24th in the away table. The away form is just dragging them down the table. They need to start chucking on away results, but otherwise they've probably been better than I thought, let's be honest, so credit to them. Difficult this, 16th, I'm going to go with Sheffield United. I feel like I'm stood in the middle of the road here and I'm going to get run over from both directions as far as the comments are concerned, because on one hand, people are going to say, well, their squad, they should be in the top 10 minimum. And then there's also going to be people saying, they've been rubbish so far, Matt. What makes you think they'll finish 16th? I'm kind of trying to fuse the two things together here. They've been rubbish, and maybe they won't be in the top half, but they've still got the quality to climb a few places, surely? I mean, we're only a 5th of the way into the season. I do trust Chris Wilder to turn things around, but maybe it's going to take longer than I thought. So I'm just going to go 16th for now for Sheffield United. Honestly, it's a difficult one. The quality in this squad is capable of top 6, but they are underperforming and they are rubbish at the minute, let's be honest. There's no goals. But if we're going to try and spin a positive, maybe take inspiration from Nottingham Forest and Coventry, who were bottom of the table, after 7 or 8 games a few years ago. They both went on to make the playoffs. Who knows? This division is very unpredictable. 15th, I'm going to go with Swansea. I think they've probably been as good as I thought they would be. I thought they'd be mid-table, and that's kind of where they are. I definitely think, although I've got them here, they should have one eye on the playoffs. If the opportunity is there this season, maybe Swansea sneak in there. Vipotnik has got 4 goals, but the underlying numbers in general are fairly low. I just think they're going to be a bit streaky, aren't they? Sort of hit and miss. Look, they have proved that they've got the quality and they've got the capability to put results together and sneak towards the playoff places. I just think it's very difficult separating some of the teams in the middle region here. Honestly, there's not much in this. 14th, Millwall. I'm tempted to go top half for Millwall. They're always sniffing for the playoff. The results are very confusing though. You know, they've just lost 4-0 to Coventry and beaten West Brom 3-0. Great goal by Aziz, by the way, and obviously in that game they showed they can get goals, but otherwise I just think there has been a lack of goal power. Is there a player there that's going to get 15 goals this season? I don't know. They've been really good away from home. They're unbeaten on the road, but they've not been great at the Den, which is usually their strong suit. So all of this inconsistency for now has got me putting Millwall in the middle. And then the final team I'm going to have in this category is Wrexham. Going to have them 13th, which is a slight improvement from what I said in the summer. I mean, they did a lot of transfer activity after I gave my prediction. They brought in a few more players like Ben Sheaf. Who else did they bring in? Was it Kiefer Moore? Kiefer Moore's been a real positive, of course. He's been scoring goals. O'Brien, that's another one. He's been scoring goals. The squad itself should be top half. I think, you know, if I said 12th, I've got them 13th. I mean, that's not far off. I don't think Wrexham will be a million miles away from the top 6. They've been pretty competitive and decent recently, drawing with Leicester and Birmingham. Got to get that next home win soon, haven't they? And build on that and make the racecourse a fortress. And I don't know, Wrexham always have this sort of ability to prove people wrong. So I don't want to have them too far away from the playoff picture. I'm going to have them 13th. And I wonder if things are going to click and start gelling a bit more at Wrexham as the weeks go on. Once again, Phil Parkinson, I know some people have been very quick to jump on him. Give him time. Give him a bit more time. Look at what he's achieved. In the top half, I'm going to stick with Pompey. I said they'd be top half. They're currently 13th. I'm going to have them 12th. I just love John Mousinho. Marry me. Honestly, that guy, I genuinely think he'll be a Premier League manager. I'd love to see it with Portsmouth as well. I think give him a couple more years at Pompey and he might take him up, you know. The Fratton factor. Obviously, they've been a bit inconsistent at Fratton Park, but they've just beaten Middlesbrough. Who else did they beat? Did they beat Stoke as well? And they were the first teams to beat those teams. And they've got to play Coventry at Fratton Park soon, which I still get nightmares about last season, by the way. Sejic, decent. Josh Murphy, always decent. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they're in the top 10. I'll have them in the top half, Pompey. 11th, QPR. They're currently 6th, by the way. I'm wondering, is this their peak? because they've won quite a few in a row. Well, they drew 2 games actually, but they're on a good run. I think it's 14 points in the last 6. Is there going to be a little bit of a levelling out for QPR? I don't think they'll be far off the playoffs though. Kone proving to be a really good signing, isn't he? You know, as I thought he would be, by the way. But I suppose we don't know a lot about Julian Stefan. Obviously, we've seen him manage 9 games for QPR now. But for now, I'm just going to have them flirting with the playoffs. But if we see them winning a few more between now and the next time I do this video, then maybe they might get in there. I definitely think that the door is open this season for someone different to sneak in there. 10th place, PNE, Preston. I'm going to have them in the top 10. What a season this would be. I know they're currently, 4th, which is remarkable. Is it sustainable? I don't want to be a party pooper. I think they've been great. I think, look at the teams they've beaten, especially at Deepdale. They've taken points off Leicester and Ipswich. They got a draw against Middlesbrough and Bristol City as well. Yeah, I think they'll be top 10. I think if they can ride this good start out for a while, then yeah, they could be in the conversation as well. I mean, if we're being honest, is the squad quality as good as the, 10 other clubs in this division? No, but Paul Heckingbottom is going to always get the best out of his players. They've been really good at Deepdale. Whiteman's been good. Thierry Small's been good. Yeah, 10th place for PNE. 9th, Stoke. Stoke City are finally going to finish in the top half of the Championship. I'm going to say it. Am I going to go as far as to say top 6 right now? I won't just yet, but I think they could be very, very close. The difference this season is Mark Robins, and they've had him for a while now. He got a summer transfer window under his belt, and for example, look at Sorba Thomas as a signing. How good's he been? You've still got Johansson between the sticks, arguably the best keeper in the league. He's been fantastic for Stoke. I think Stoke will be there or thereabouts. Maybe a little bit of a levelling off to come, but you look at their underlying numbers, the XG suggests this is sustainable. Has it just been a red hot start and, they're going to be dragged down a little bit? Maybe, but honestly, I think it wouldn't be fair to put them out of the top 10. I'm going to go 9th for now, but Stoke always sort of somehow finish in the bottom half, so I hope they don't this time. Come on, Stoke. 8th place, Bristol City. Do you know what? My original prediction for Bristol City was probably about 11th. And maybe I underestimated Gerhard Struber. Maybe they will be closer to the playoffs. Maybe they might get in there again. They've just been bloody bonkers with Struber, haven't they? And they've been great going forwards. I mean, think of that first result when they beat Sheffield United 4-1. How good was that? Look at the goals they're getting. So you've got Mehmeti on 4, Emil Rees on 4, Scott Twine on 3. They've been really good. However, they're entertaining but volatile. They've lost at home to QPR. They've lost 3-1 at home to Oxford. They haven't won in 4. So they're a bit like this. They're sort of spiking all over the place, which means they might get in there, but they might not. I'm just going to go 8th for now. And then 7th, this is really tricky. I'm going to go West Brom. West Brom are always minimum top 10, aren't they? They're always knocking on the door, and I will have them right on the edge of the door. I'm tempted to put them in there. They've been pretty good. Look, the thing is with West Brom, they're not in great form at the minute. They've just crashed and burnt at Millwall. That was a terrible display, let's be honest. However, I think they have been steady, and Ryan Mason is good. He's pragmatic. They're averaging 1 goal scored a game, and maybe that's the issue. I know they're pretty steady, but if you can't kill a game off, you're going to struggle to get 1-0 wins over the line every week. Do you know what I mean? So I just wonder if they need Josh Madger to hit a run of form. They need him to get a few goals now, and that will be the difference. I just think it's a goal scorer they're really missing. They could do with Brandon Thomas Asante at the minute, actually, but yeah, I think they'll be right on the edges. I think it'll be a real battle between 2 Midlands teams for 6th place. Maybe West Brom miss out and Birmingham sneak in. Yes, I know Birmingham City have not been great so far. They've been a bit tricky to put your finger on, haven't they? They started the first 3 or 4 games really well, and then since then they've not been very good. Let's just remember how good their transfer window was. And I think by one way or another, they will just get into the top 6. Whether that's with Chris Davies or whether it isn't. I'm going to say that. Not that I want him to get sacked. I think he's been great for Birmingham City. But I'm just going to put that out there, that if they're still in the bottom half come the next international break, then the pressure does crank up, because this is a squad capable of top 6 or more. And that's what I'm putting this down to. Look at the forward players that they've got. They'll get goals at some point. Something's going to click for Blues. It's not at the minute. They've got a great squad. They've had a great window, but they're not playing well together. It's below par performances. I'm just putting it down to the fact I think it will click at some point. And if you remain unbeaten at St Andrews, that could carry you. Right, 5th. Southampton. Once again, tricky, because they're currently nowhere near the playoffs in terms of position in the table. In terms of points, you know, if Southampton win back-to-back games, they might get in there. That's how close the table is right now. They're drawing a lot, though, aren't they? They're just struggling to kill teams off. Yeah, the joint most draws with 5 this season. They're not ruthless. Question marks over Will Still? Yeah, I think that's merited, given I had Southampton to win the league. I'm not going to say that anymore. There's nothing I'm seeing right now from Southampton that says they're going to win the league. They could technically turn it around and win the league. Look at the quality they've got. Adam Armstrong, Manning, Stewart, Ross Stewart's goals at Sheffield United, he's shown quality. But they need to be a bit more ruthless. They need to be more cutthroat. This is a very competitive championship. And right now, as good as I'm saying for Southampton, is going to be the playoffs. Next up, 4th place, I'm going to say Middlesbrough. I'm going to put Middlesbrough in my top 6. Now, to be fair, at the start of the season, I had them out of the playoffs. So, hands up, Middlesbrough fans. I'm sorry, I underestimated you. You've been very good so far. Currently 2nd. Look, if we're going to talk about the recent results, they have dried up a little bit. The goals have dried up. The results have dried up. They're struggling to get wins right now. But what I've seen, performance-wise and results-wise on the whole, is making me think they'll surely get a top 6 place. You know, and look at the window as well. They managed to hang on to Hayden Hackney. He's been good. Strelic, really decent signing. Of course, you've got Morris as well, by the way. Sen, he's getting goals. And Rob Edwards, promotion on his CV. AD Vivash, hugely instrumental to Coventry City's rise over the recent years. So I think they've got maybe enough pieces to a playoff jigsaw. Is that an analogy I can use? I'll go 4th. What do you reckon, Borough fans? Is that fair? This is tricky now. We're on to the top 3. I'm going to go with Leicester in 3rd. I'm going to have Leicester City in 3rd place. The quality they've got makes me think they could get top 2. The big thing we need to talk about is this possible points deduction. It's still a bit confusing when I'm trying to do these predictions, because I don't know when it will come, or how many points it will be, or if there's going to be 2 deductions or maybe none. But surely there'll be at least 1, I think. As for the football side of things, I think they've been very steady under Cifuentes. Quite a few draws, but the quality is there. And they're not losing many games, are they? It's like pragmatic but good. Look at the quality here. Fatawu, he is a match winner. He will get them lots of points. Vestergaard, I think, has been good. Ricardo Pereira's still there. Jordan James, of course, he's been decent. I think if Leicester don't get top 3 or 4, that's disappointing. But then I don't know how many points they're going to get deducted. I think if there wasn't a points deduction, I might be looking at Leicester being in the top 2. Just because as a relegated team from the Premier League, with the depth they've got, they could go the distance this season. But that points deduction might play its part, and it might mean that Coventry City get top 2. Yep, you can accuse me of being biased if you want to, but I'm trying to think what I would be saying if I wasn't a Coventry fan. I always try and be balanced here, but there is no getting away from Coventry City being the best team in the Championship right now. That is what the table shows us. That's what the bloody goal difference shows us. 20 goal difference, 27 goals scored, by the way. Just think how crazy that is after 9 games. That's a record in the Championship after this many games. We're the only team unbeaten in all of English professional football. Just let that sink in. I know we're not going to go invincible all season, and I'm trying to offer some balance here. You could make the argument that Coventry City have peaked too early. Is this the best part of our season and it sort of slopes downhill from here? You could make that argument, but The numbers back up the results. The XG, the chance creation numbers, the shot numbers, the shots on target numbers. And there is more depth to this team than people thought. Brandon Thomas-Asante has stepped up really well. Haji Wright keeps scoring. Mason Clark, Sims, Sakamoto. Rodoni's out at the minute. And, you know, he's probably our best player, but he's out and we're still winning. Victor Torp. Let's talk about Matt Grimes. I think it's the best bit of business Coventry have done for, I don't know, years. Getting him in January saved last season, and it might be the key to us getting promoted this season. I love Matt Grimes. Lampard deserves lots of credit. I promise I'm not trying to be too over the top here by putting Coventry in the top 2. I do think it's sustainable. I think if we don't get top 4, I'd be disappointed. I want to at least be top 4, and I think top 2 is possible. I know there's going to be a lot of hard work between now and getting over the line, but I think we could do it. We've just got to keep our feet on the ground. I'm not going to back us to win the league. I don't actually care about us winning the league. I don't care about 100 points. Any kind of promotion, I'll take it. I'm going to give the crown to Ipswich. Yes, Coventry have been better than Ipswich so far, but I did have Ipswich originally to go up in the top 2, and although they've not been perfect so far, they are starting to come good. You know, that's 3 wins in a row at home, and I think that win over Norwich will give them a real lift. To get that monkey off their back, I just think there's so much positivity around the place right now. And McKenna, I just think he's so good. I know I'd been a little bit critical recently just because of the slow start, but I think he deserves so much credit for the players he's brought in. And look at the squad depth, by the way. I was watching that Norwich-Ipswich game, and Ipswich were bringing on Jack Clark and Chuba Akpom, who'd probably get into most teams' starting 11s, and they were on the bench. And we need to talk about Jaden Philogene. Blummin' heck. He's a cheat code for this level. He should be in the Premier League. And maybe that's where he's going. Because I've got Ipswich going up. I'm going to have Ipswich and Coventry as my top 2. And if you were going to ask me for who I think's going to win the playoffs, oh, it's tough. Maybe it'll be a Leicester-Middlesbrough playoff final. The teams that finish 3rd and 4th usually do quite well, but I genuinely think Southampton or Blues could do it as well, honestly. So that's what I'm going to go with. If you disagree, fair enough, but try and be respectful. Share your own comments down below. That is my prediction. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I did try and really think this video through. I've put a lot of thought into this. Yes, there's probably going to be a few wrong predictions in there, but that's genuinely how I feel right now. I didn't want to do one after the first international break. I do think after 9 games we've got a bit more of a clearer picture, so that's what I'm going to go with. I will be doing my new Premier League predictions soon as well, so look out for that. Make sure you've dropped a like and subscribed. Check out Match Bingo in the link below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Take care. Peace out.